Welcome to the February 24th Committee of the Whole Council meeting, which I will now call to order. Before we begin, I ask everyone to join me in a moment of silence as we remember the victims and families of those affected by the tragic events at Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia. In times like these, we are reminded of the importance of compassion, community, and supporting one another through grief and uncertainty. Please join me now for a moment of silence. Thank you. We're on item B, declaration of interest. Are there any declarations of interest from members of council? I'm not seeing any. I will move to item C, the land acknowledgement statement. The town of East Gwillimbury recognizes and acknowledges the lands originally used and occupied by the First Peoples of the Williams Treaty First Nation and other Indigenous peoples. And on behalf of council, I thank them for sharing this land. We also acknowledge the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation as East Gwillimbury's closest First Nation community and recognize the unique relationship the Chippewas have with the lands and the waters of this territory. They are the water protectors and environmental stewards of these lands, and we join them in these responsibilities. Prior to moving forward, I wanted to also note that Councillor Lahey is absent with notice. And we are now at item D with the community announcements. I'll start with extending congratulations to all Team Canada athletes who participated in the 2026 Milano Winter Olympics. Like many, I enjoyed watching the events from skating to skiing to curling and, of course, hockey. Our Canadian athletes certainly made us proud, capturing 21 medals. And I congratulate all the York Region athletes and give special recognition to those receiving a medal at the 2025 Winter Games, including our own E.G. Proud Sam Bennett, who received a silver medal in men's hockey. Are there any announcements from members of council? Councillor Foster, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, I just want to mention the coldest night of the year walk is the 28th, which I believe is this Saturday. Our fundraising right now, I believe, sits at about $8,000 or just shy of that. And I thank everyone who has stepped up to donate. We are going to meet at 2 o'clock in the afternoon behind the public library in Holland Landing. My intent is that we'll head off through the trails out towards Silk Twist. If those trails are a little bit too icy or hard for us to handle, we'll make an alternate decision then. I will reach out to the folks that have indicated that they are going to walk personally to them, but again, so that's 2 o'clock on the 28th, and we are, like I say, again, thanks to everyone who has donated so far. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there other announcements from members of council? I'm not seeing any at this time. Item F, presentations. Not seeing any. And I will move to item G with Councillor Johns in the chair.
Thanks so much, Madam Mayor. So Finance has one item. It's regarding a procurement bylaw update. And with that, I'm happy to turn it over to Mr. Marshall to present the procurement bylaw.
Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. So the town's current procurement bylaw was approved in 2019, and every 5 years we do a review of that bylaw. This report summarizes the proposed changes to the bylaw through our review that we undertook with legal in 2025. The proposed changes are predominantly administrative in nature, providing more clarity for those people using and abiding by the procurement bylaw. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Is there any questions or comments from members of committee to Mr. Marshall? Councillor Crone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to Mr. Marshall. I appreciate the update, and I can't believe it's been this long since we passed it last time, so time flies when you're having fun. I'm curious about, you know, I know, how do we handle situations where we have, we know we're bidding, we put out a tender, or we're trying to buy something, and we know it's the best price, or we're getting the best price back, you know, in a tender, but it may not be the best value. And I know that's part of your, you know, sometimes cheapest isn't always the best. How do we, what guardrails are in place to make sure that we still get quality, best quality for the best price? What are the guardrails that we have in place for that? Is what I'm trying to get at. Thank you.
Mr. Marshall.
So through you, Mr. Chair. So that usually comes into play when we have requests for proposals that we issue, where you're evaluating not only price, but basically the value that you're getting out of it, the methodology that the proponents are proposing. So we have we form groups that evaluate the proposals. We have a bid committee that is run by our manager of procurement, who's sitting right there as well. And he makes sure that we go through the rigor of evaluating to make sure that we do get the best value. Those bids are not awarded to, not necessarily awarded to the lowest price. It's a combination of price and value. So that's how we can assure that we are getting value for our dollar.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Councillor Foster and then Councillor Crothers.
Thank you. Reading this, the one thing that keeps popping into my mind, and I may have asked this question before in years past, do we have a policy or procedure in place for a large purchase that we may not deem as an emergency purchase? And where I'm going with this is, I'm thinking perhaps of the fire chief or the general manager of Public Works heading off to a show, and let's say the fire chief knows that he has an engine in the budget, and he gets to the chief's conference and there is an engine sitting there that he decides will do the job for him. It's maybe $200,000 cheaper than what we originally expected. Is there a procedure that he would go through to be able to call back here, talk to the CAO, whoever it might be, and says, you know, here's what I'm looking for. It's right here in front of me. I think I can make this work, and I can save the municipality a couple $100,000 at the same time. Is there a way we go through that, or is that kind of something different?
Mr. Marshall.
So through you, Mr. Chair. Generally, if it's something of that magnitude, you would have to go through a competitive bid process. And if that competitive bid, if that item is definitely cheaper, they would supposedly be putting a bid in, and then we'd find out that that amount was cheaper.
Where I'm going with this more along the lines of, is this something that we should have a look at to have a policy in place? Because I've attended, you know, and again, I use the fire chief as an example here. I've attended lots of the chief's conferences and stuff over the years. And quite frankly, there may be a number of people lined up to buy that piece of equipment. Now, I'm not saying we need to have something that he can call back and say, yes, in 10 minutes, that's mine. But I think maybe we should have some sort of a thought process on how we might look after that in the future. And same as the general manager of Public Works, he could be looking at any piece of equipment at whatever that's, you know, a good deal for the municipality. I'm just not sure how we handle that.
So through you, Mr. Chair, so I understand what you're getting at. The other question is, how do you know that that is the cheapest? Because there might be somewhere else that is actually cheaper than that one. So the best way that we have to make sure that we can get the cheapest price is by issuing a competitive bid and getting a tender out in the market for it.
Great, thank you. Councillor Carruthers.
Thank you. Two questions for you. The first one is about the new exemptions for certain services as determined by the CAO. My question is around the $100,000 threshold for needing council approval. Would that still apply to these exemptions?
Mr. Marshall.
So through you, Mr. Chair. So the bylaw would not apply for those specific ones that are outlined.
Okay.
But generally, those are less than 100,000 anyway. So it wouldn't be caught by the bylaw, but there wouldn't be an instance where
It's not
would go
something
over
that's
it.
typically over 100,000. Okay. So that sort of leads into my second question, which is about lowering the reporting to annually rather than quarterly. I'm not in favor of this, and the reason why is because a year is a long time to go. We have never had a problem, and we've been lucky that way, but if something were to go off the rails, if there was, let's say, different staff in place, and there was a problem, a year is too long to wait. So I would like to keep that at the annual reporting. So my question is, what is the current volume? Because that's the rationale for moving it to annual.
Mr. Marshall.
So through you, Mr. Chair. So we've been actually reporting annually for the past few years, and we average about 15 tenders that we report on each year, and the total is about 3.5 million a year. So it's not a huge amount, which is part of the reason why we're looking to go to annual. The volume on those ones that are over 100,000 over 100,000 aren't that
Okay.
great.
And everything would be within budget, though, correct?
Yeah. So through you, Mr. Chair. So it would be to the lowest bid and within budget. So really, there's no discretion on whether we could award it or not because it's to the lowest competitive bid, qualified bid, and it's within our budget amount. So those are the ones that get awarded by the GMs.
And like I said, I have confidence in our current staff. What concerns me is if something were to go wrong, I don't want to wait a year. If it were to exceed that amount and that volume, and we have in our bylaw that the reporting is only annual, I'm just not comfortable with that. And at least if it can't be quarterly, at least when it reaches a certain threshold or twice a year. But I think annually, we're opening ourselves up to missing if there is a problem somewhere along the lines. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Roy-DiClemente or Madam Mayor, do you have any questions, comments? Councillor Roy-DiClemente.
Thank you. I guess maybe I'll just give a bit of a history lesson because once upon a time I would sit in this chamber and actually open the bid boxes and read the bids aloud. And so I guess I just want to say that I feel really glad that we've come a lot further than that. You know, I feel like our bylaw as proposed is, you know, it reflects municipal best practices, and it has elevated the professionalism of this organization, and I feel comfortable with it as presented. I would like to hear a little bit more about the reporting structure and whether Councillor Carruthers, you want it semi-annually. I've been fine with it being annually. Every project has to be within a certain budget. If there's an exceedance, it has to come to council above a certain amount. I feel that there's enough checks and balances, but if a colleague has concerns, I would like to hear more, please.
Thanks, Councillor Roy-DiClemente. Councillor Crothers.
Likewise, if my colleagues are fine with it, I'll be fine with it. I can get over it. It's just when things go wrong, a year is a long ways to wait. And the purpose of that reporting is for that checks and balances to make sure that nothing's going wrong. If everything is fine, then never report. But no, we need to see that reporting. And I think a year is a long way if we have different staff in place and something goes off the rails. I don't want it being off the rails for a year before I find out about it. So I would be happy if it was twice a year. I think as we grow, there's going to be more and more of these. The current volume is only going to increase. So I would be happy to change that to twice a year reporting, but I'm not going to die on this hill.
So, folks, okay, Councillor Carruthers, go ahead. Or, sorry, Councillor Roy-DiClemente. My apologies.
Thank you. I wonder if this might be something that could be included in a council information package. Through you, Mr. Chair, to staff, whether that, or whether it's a 6-month thing. I'd prefer to hear from Mr. Marshall about how we might address Councillor Carruthers' concern. I personally feel we've got an audit. We have to wait a year every year to get an audit result. We have an annual budget process. I'm okay, but I respect the idea that a year is a long time to wait. So is there another mechanism that is less formal that we might be able to undertake?
Thanks. Mr. Marshall, do you have a comment?
Sure, through you, Mr. Chair. So right now, the report actually goes through the council information package. So we just reported, I think it was the last cycle, and we had that tender report. Maybe I'll comment that if something was going off the rails in terms of one of our tenders, we would be coming back here and either getting some guidance on it, or we'd be dealing with it internally and reporting on the results of that, because like tenders are fairly standard, and there's not a lot of leeway. So if something went off the rails, it would involve some I would say some legal interpretation and some advice and guidance from council. So I would say if it went off the rails, we'd be back here in this chamber.
So, folks, we haven't actually moved the motion. I don't know if Councillor Carruthers, I'm not sure if you're satisfied with those comments or whatnot, but if you wanted to move the motion and make an amendment to it, or if somebody would just like to move the motion as is, I'm open and happy to watch for hands and direction. Councillor Carruthers.
I'm happy to move the motion with the amendment that the reporting is twice a year.
Thank you. And so we have a motion to move that. So it is as written with the amendment to do semi-annually. It has been moved. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion carries. Wonderful. That's great. Mr. Marshall, do you have any other items that you wish to bring forward to the committee?
Through you, Mr. Chair, none at this time.
Thank you, sir. Members of committee, do you have any other questions that you may want to pose, Mr. Marshall, at this time? Seeing none, I will turn it over back to you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. I have item H. Development Services with Councillor Roy-DiClemente in the chair.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one prepared item on the agenda today, and that's Development Services Planning Branch Report DS 2026-4 regarding a zoning bylaw amendment and allocation request for the southeast corner of Highway 11 and Crimson King Way. And that is made by the Samuel Lount Development Corporation, and this is for Phase 3. Ms. Voumvakis, would you, actually, may I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Crone, thank you. Ms. Voumvakis, would you care to present your report, please? Thank you very much. You will need your microphone on in order to do so. Thank you.
There, it's on now?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. The report before you recommends approval of a rezoning amendment application to rezone the subject lands. There are no new uses being requested at this point in time. I want to make that clear. What is changing is how the ancillary use provisions are being expressed with respect to the site. Relief is also being sought with respect to parking. 230 parking spaces are proposed. Based on our current analysis, it may require up to 278 parking spaces, but that is yet to be determined, and that in large part is due to the fact that until the absolute users are determined, the parking ratios will change. Once the users are better determined, then we can assess the parking. We're recommending that a holding provision be placed on the lands and that the removal of the holding be subject to a parking study, so that at the end, if we know that if there's less of a parking demand, we would bring forward a report to committee with a reduced parking standard, or saying that the parking that we're proposing is sufficient and the H would be removed. In addition, before anything else progresses, a site plan application would also be required with respect to the site. And I acknowledge that because some of the comments that were raised address some of the concerns with respect to noise and lighting and landscaping. All those matters will be addressed through the subsequent site plan application, which we have yet to receive. But planning staff and all the departments and agencies that commented support the application. It conforms with both the official plan and with the provincial plan and the York Regional official plan. So we're happy to recommend this application for approval.
Thank you, Ms. Boumvakis. Members of committee, do you have any questions? Councillor Carruthers, please go ahead.
Thank you. No questions, just a comment. We talk so much about complete communities, and we have this whole area over in Hillsborough that is in desperate need of the services that this is going to provide. Coffee shop, grocery store, hopefully a vet clinic, those types of things. It's going to be something that residents will be able to walk to or stop in on their way home from work. So I think this is something that is very much needed in the community, and I just want to applaud Kerbal for working with the residents on the issues that they had with some of the things around this, and how they have really listened and made changes so that the community is accepting of this, and I think that's what we want to see. So I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you, Councillor Carruthers. Councillor Crone, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you to staff and the applicant, I'd like to echo Councillor Carruthers' comments about the applicant being very amenable to working with the residents and making this a smooth application. I think it's a great example for other developers to look at. Madam Chair, if I could, there was on, I think it was page 8, there was a comment about helping with buffering and parks and development could help with maybe some of the tree landscaping, and so I would point my question through you to Mr. Karmazin. Is there any assistance that your area may be able to provide in the buffering between this development and the adjacent residential area with trees and shrubs, whatever, you know better than I. Is there any assistance that your team would be able to bring to bear on this?
Mr. Karmazin.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. As detailed out in the report, there is reference to the plans examination for the landscape plans, as well as the planting plans and arborist reports. We would work with the applicant to ensure that we would maximize buffer planting and any sort of interface that may provide screening or an interface with the residential community.
Thank you, Mr. Karmazin. I think that'll be welcome news to the residents. No further questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Foster, go ahead, please.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Again, just to go along with what's already been said, I think that this is a much-needed retail development in that area, and I look forward to possibly us helping to get this happening. This one's been a while coming, so it's time.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, Councillor Johns, anything? I did want to echo Councillor Crone's comment. I know it's more of a site plan issue, but making sure that interface between the residential uses on Clover Ridge and the back faces of the commercial units, I think, is an important space to be mindful of. Ms. Vivakis, I don't have a question for you, but I did have a question for Mr. Molinari about allocation. Car washes are notoriously heavy water users. I noticed that the staff don't have an issue with the allocation here. I just wanted to confirm that we've taken into consideration the flows that would be generated by the car wash rather than simply regular commercial uses, which are usually just bathrooms and dishwashing and so on.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we have looked at the flows for this particular site, and we believe that there is sufficient remaining to be able to accommodate. If there's an issue with that, in the fullness of time, there certainly will be sufficient ICI flows available, so it would be just a matter of timing to permit the car wash, if there was an issue with that.
Okay, great. Thank you. Before I call the question, Ms. Vivakis, did you have anything further to add? No? Okay.
No, thank you.
Okay, so seeing no other comments, we have a motion moved by Councillor Crone as presented. All those in favor? And that motion carries. Thank you very much. That's the end of our prepared agenda for today. Ms. Vivakis, did you have anything further to bring forward at this time?
Through you, Madam Chair, no, we
Okay.
do not.
Members of committee, anything else? Seeing none, I'll turn the chair back to you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. We're on item L, Engineering and Public Works with Councillor Lahey in the chair. Given that Councillor Lahey is absent with notice today, I will chair this portion of the agenda. This is item L, Engineering and Public Works with Councillor Lahey in the chair. Given the Councillor Lahey is absent with notice today, I will chair this portion of the meeting. The first item is number 1, Joint Engineering and Public Works and Parks, Recreation and Culture Report, EPW 2026-04, Assumption of Queensville Properties Development Corporation, Phase 2, Subdivision 19T03001. General Manager Molinari, I think you have the information we're looking for.
Thank you, and through you, Madam Chair. This is a standard assumption report for the Phase 2 Queensville property, which is a 354 lot development in the central part of the Queensville development. Works were completed in 2024, and the 13-month maintenance period is complete. A nominal amount of security is being held for minor works, and the subdivision is ready for assumption. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Go ahead. Thank you. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much. We are now on item number 2, Engineering and Public Works Memo 2025, Water Summary Report. This was requested by Councillor Lahey in her absence. There might be questions, and hopefully that she would be having an opportunity to take a look at this today as well.
I'll move to receive.
Thank you. Councillor, go ahead, please.
Thank you. I know that this is a report that we get annually, and I always read it with great interest because it has a lot of really helpful information. I was disappointed to see that there wasn't a 2025 data regarding the non-revenue water. In 2024, it was about 17%. Our benchmark is 15 it's pretty standard right now, it's pretty solid right now, but I'm just wondering why the 2025 numbers weren't included in the report.
Through you, Madam Chair. That was, the compiling of all that data takes a significant amount of time. Our staff this year were tasked with a lot of other items, and that was one item that we just weren't able to pull together. So we will be reporting on the 2025 data as part of 2026, but we do recognize that the data generally was similar to the 2024 data. So we didn't, rather than pull staff off of some other things that were a little more pressing, put them on this, we left them to do those other projects, and we'll report on the 2025 data next year.
Madam Mayor, this area is of significant interest to our municipality. The amount of water loss that we're seeing through non-revenue water, through flushing, we've undertaken a major partnership with the region. We're spending a great deal of money to try and study the chlorine residuals and why they're taking place. Not having 2025's data is, I think, an important omission, and I would like to see it. When we are looking at losing, according to the new way of doing it through the APWA, with total unit total losses at 64.5 liters per connection per day. So my art-sci math says that that's the equivalent of about a 10-minute shower per household per day that we are paying for but not actually billing for. And that is a tremendous financial impact to this organization. So if we're not going to have 2025's data, then I'd like to have an understanding of when the study with the region will be complete, and we will have a strategy in place to reduce this issue once and for all. This has been going on for a very, very long time, and it needs to be addressed.
Mr. Molinari, go ahead,
Through you, Madam Chair. The other project I was referring to was exactly that one with the region. That project is actually well underway now. And it is a significant project. It's complicated, and it is taking staff a significant amount of time. So our time is better spent getting that modeling done and working with the region to further that overall project, and with the hopes of advancing that as quickly as possible. And with that modeling in place, that's where we'll be able to look at having a better handle on the management of the overall system and being able to implement measures that will hopefully reduce that flushing. So we apologize for not being able to put it on this year's report, but if you're looking at the big picture, I believe our time was better spent working on the project with the region, which ultimately will provide us with the benefits that we're looking for now. So that's coming. We are moving as quickly as we can on it. And I know it had a bit of a slow start. That's more of a procurement thing than it was an engineering matter. But the project's well underway now, and we're looking forward to getting some of that modeling in place, whereby we can actually start using that model for good purposes.
Go ahead, please.
So do you have a sense of when that modeling will be complete?
Maybe I can refer that to Christy Beatty, our manager of water.
Thank you so much. Through you, Madam Mayor. The modeling, right now, we're undertaking some workshops. As Mr. Molinari mentioned, we have been undertaking a lot of meetings with the consultant in York Region to get the model in place. We also did 2 days of sampling, 24-hour sampling for 2 days across 30 locations with Town and Newmarket and York Region to get that model information so that they can calibrate the model accordingly. The project is anticipated to take it's a 3-year project. There are some short-term modeling requirements as part of that procurement, so we're hoping to have an initial model that we can validate by the end of this year with some short-term proposed items and potentially following that. But it is a 3-year project. We do have a report planned or a council information package planned for later this year. and we can talk to the flushing volumes. What I've seen is that it's very similar to last year with a slight increase due to the additional water main on Woodbine. So that's the difference that we're seeing. So we already do have those numbers, but to compile the whole IWA, AWWA water audit, we want to use the best information, and part of that consulting assignment is to look at validating our flushing numbers, how we're metering and measuring or estimating our flushing numbers. So hopefully that will help us with our accuracy of those reporting numbers as well. So
Thank you for that verbal
Hopefully that-
update, Ms. Beatty. Through you, Madam Mayor, Councillor Johns and I will recall that this was very much an election issue 3.5 years ago. And going into another election cycle without any meaningful change in the circumstances is going to be, quite frankly, politically challenging. And we have an obligation to make some progress. And I guess that's why I'm pushing so hard on this. And understandably that, I know you're working hard and so is the team. But it would be helpful if we could have something to show by the end of this term. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have Councillor Crothers. Go ahead, please.
So just moving receipt.
Thank you. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much. Seeing no items under J to N, if there are no updates, we will move on to item O for other business. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I did send out a note through the clerk's office and to my councillor colleagues regarding an item that's actually coming to Regional Council on Thursday, and that's their development charges background study and their associated draft bylaw. They are holding a statutory public meeting on that on Thursday morning. As the regional alternate, Madam Mayor, I was pleased to join you in a briefing with senior regional staff yesterday morning, and the region has undertaken a significant amount of consultation with the development community as well as municipal staff, the current state of the housing market, as well as the region's significant capital needs to 2051. Have been top of mind for everybody, and regional level DC charges and housing affordability are also expected to be high on the list of discussion items. The region is proposing that every category of development charges is to be reduced. As examples, detached and semis would be going down by 9%, industrial, commercial, and institutional would be going down 11% as examples. And in an effort to support your efforts, Madam Mayor, at the Regional Council table, I wanted to make sure that there are some significant capital projects that are completely vital to East Gwillimbury's future plans. For example, the Doan Road interchange at the 404, an important trail connection from Zephyr south through the eastern borders of our community, and most importantly, the YDSS expansion project. And those are all supported through DC funding. So I drafted a resolution that I would like to present here at CWC and have it ratified later this evening so that Madam Mayor can go into the Regional Council chamber armed with this council's support for the regional background study and the capital program that underpins it all, because without it, without that DC funding, we won't be able to implement our official plan. And so if you wouldn't mind, Madam Clerk, to put it on the screen, I'm happy to read it aloud. That whereas the Regional Municipality of York is tabling their region-wide development charges background study and bylaw on February 26, 2026, and whereas the inclusion of the North YDSS expansion project at a projected cost of $2.3 billion is critical to Northern York Region municipalities, and whereas the Town of East Gwillimbury's official plan cannot be implemented without this vital infrastructure investment, and whereas the draft bylaw proposes a reduction in all development charge rate categories, including an 11% reduction in non-residential construction to support and promote investment in the local economy, be it therefore resolved that the Council of the Town of East Gwillimbury hereby expresses support for York Region's development charges background study, draft bylaw, and the capital program that it supports. And I wanted to add, and that the clerk forward this resolution to the Region of York for inclusion on their February 26th agenda, and that this be ratified at our council meeting later this evening. That's a lot of talking, I'm sorry,
Thank
Madam
you.
Mayor, but I just wanted to give some background and then explain what I was trying to do, which was essentially give East Gwillimbury's support for that capital program and give you our voice to add to yours.
Thank you, very much appreciated.
Through Madam Mayor, just procedurally, in order for a committee to consider this new item, given the urgency that was expressed by Councillor Roy-DiClemente, you would require a special majority vote in accordance with Section 15 of your procedure bylaw to permit this new item, and subsequent to that, then you would address the recommendation before you. So perhaps, Madam Mayor, the first item would be to have a mover to permit the addition.
We have that. Councillor Carruthers.
Okay, and you would need a special majority, Madam Mayor, so you just need a vote of committee, at least 5 members from this table, and then we can proceed with the balance of the recommendation.
All those in favor? It's carried. Thank you.
And Madam Mayor, at this time, you do have the motion that was presented. There will be 2 additional clauses at the end of this motion. One to refer this to the region once it's approved, and in addition to have it ratified at this evening's council meeting. So that is the addition that is presented it will be presented as part of this motion. So you just need a vote of committee on this point or questioning from committee members.
Okay, we'll start with whereas the Regional Municipality of York is tabling their region-wide development charge background study and bylaw on February 26, 2026, and whereas the inclusion of the North EDSS expansion project at a projected cost of $2.3 billion is critical to the Northern York Region municipalities, and whereas the town of East Gwillimbury's official plan cannot be implemented without this vital infrastructure investment, and whereas the draft bylaw properties a reduction in all development charge rate, taxpayers including 11% reduction in non-residential construction and support, and promote investment in the local economy. Be it therefore resolved that the Council of the Town of East Gwillimbury hereby expresses support for the York Region Development Charges Background Study and draft bylaw and the capital program that it supports.
Through Madam Mayor, there will be 2 additional clauses added. One is to forward this to the region and to have it ratified same day.
Thank you. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you.
I wanted to thank my colleagues, all of you. I know it's unusual for something to be walked on, but it's certainly time sensitive and really important to the future of our municipality. So I appreciate everyone's support. Thank you.
Just wanted to comment to thank Councillor Roy-DiClemente for all her work on this. This was some pretty heavy lifting that she's doing on our behalf, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. We're at item P of our agenda, and it is be it resolved that the meeting of the Committee of the Whole Council adjourn at, I have 2:44 p.m. Councillor Crone. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much.